Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first in a series of conversations that we're calling HR Essentials. Our goal is to help CCSD employees have all the essential information they need to find their fit with CCSD benefits. I'm Selena Blankenship, Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources.
And I'm Dan Swartz, the Executive Director of Human Resources. Today we're excited to have Latura Hunter with us, our benefits specialist for the Clark County School District. He's going to help us navigate the ins and outs of enrolling in the CCSD benefits. Thanks for joining us today, Latura.
Thank you very much for having me.
So let's dig right in. One of the most common questions that people have is a big one. How do employees enroll in their benefits in CCSD?
So for employees enroll in benefits, they will have to go to two websites. They will have to go to Clark County School District Benefits website portal as well as the State Health SHBP portal. On the CCSD benefit portal, they will make their selections for dental, vision, and life insurance. And then for SHBP portal, they'll make their health insurance selections.
Do people miss those steps sometimes doing both?
Yes, some people just go to the school site and forget about SHBP. And then sometimes people, go to SHBP site and fail to go to the school.
Yep, I can see how that happens. Missing one of those steps can cause a major headache.
Yes, if you don't go back in a timely manner, your window could close for your enrollment. So that way you might miss out on selecting a health insurance plan or miss out on picking a life insurance policy for your household.
And then we would be without benefits.
Yes, they would be without coverage for whichever site they fail to go to to the next year unless they have a qualifying event.
And is there anything that you can do about that? I mean, if I come to you and beg, can you make that change?
No, ma'am. Outside of that window, there's nothing we could do. That's why we try to make sure everybody do it in a timely manner, which is 31 days for all new hires.
And speaking of that, enrollment's not just for new hires, right? This is for all employees.
Correct. The 31 days is for all employees. For employees that have been here, they'll do their changes during open enrollment. So they'll have a window to do open enrollment, which will be October the 15th through November the 8th this year to make any kind of plan changes that they want for the next year, 2025.
So that leads us to another question. I've heard about qualifying events. What actually is a qualifying event? And if someone does have one, how do they change their benefits then?
So a qualifying event would be someone that turned age 26, so they're coming off their parent plan, somebody that lost coverage elsewhere as far as a Medicaid or a spouse plan, someone that got married and want to add a dependent or had a baby again and add a dependent. That will be considered qualifying events. If any of those things happen, you will have then roughly 31 days from that event to notify state health for health insurance as well as the school for dental and vision to get a new window, 30-day window to enroll in those plans.
Now, on to something else that confuses people, and that's payroll deductions. So why are premiums deducted the month before coverage begins?
So premiums are deducted the month before, so that way there's really no gap in your coverage. So that way you're already making your selection prior to the actual start date, and as well as we're making the payment to the vendor before your coverage starts. And so that way if you have your coverage starting in January, we do your deductions in December. And so that way you also can see on your payroll checks that yes, my selection was clear and my deduction was made as well. Now we do have some individuals that don't make timely selections. For those that don't make timely selections, unfortunately we might have to double premiums if they make their change in the latter part of their 30-day window.
That makes sense. Yeah. And so speaking of coverage, so when do benefits end when someone leaves CCSD, and how will they be notified?
So individuals that leave the district, their benefits end the month after their final paycheck. So it's really the month after they get a full month coverage payment. So if your final check was July the 31st, your benefits will end August the 31st. As far as notification, each vendor will notify the employee of their coverage closure, as well as give them the option to do COBRA selection if they want to continue with the vendor.
So what if I'm an employee that doesn't want to change any of their benefits at all? Do I have to do anything?
During open enrollment, if you're comfortable and don't want to make any changes, you do not have to go to make anything, unless Now, it's big unless you have flexible spending accounts, medical or dependent care. You have to go do an open enrollment to make your selection for the following year. Otherwise, your plan will expire at the end of this year, and then you won't have coverage for your flexible spending or dependent care for the following year.
And those are pre-tax, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So they lower your tax burden.
Correct.
And if you forget to enroll in flexible spending for next year, what happens to the funds that are remaining in the account this year?
For failure to enroll, your funds actually would be exhausted or let's say remained with the company. So there's no refund going to individuals that fail to roll over next year or use all of their planned money within the year.
So if they use all of their money within the year, then they're fine.
Yes, if they use all their money within a year and do not want coverage next year, they're fine. There's no money lost, nothing rolled over. If they don't use their money, that money is forfeited. But if they did make a plan selection and didn't use all their money, whatever they have remaining could roll over to a certain dollar value.
So although people don't have to go to the websites to enroll if they're happy with their benefits, it's probably a good idea that they go review their information to make sure that everything is what they want it to be, right?
Correct. It's always a good idea to go through to see what you have. So that way you at least know your prices just in case a price did change, or if you need to change your address or your dependents that you need to have coverage for. So it's always good to go look, but it's not mandatory.
That address is probably pretty important, isn't it?
Yes, it is. A lot of people do fail to look at their address or notify the district that they move. So yes, open enrollment is an opportunity for you to look at your address, see if it's correct or not, to make your changes for the next year. And you can make your changes for that on the employee self-service site as far as updating your address.
So I'm going to put in a plug there for any employee. When your address changes, go to the employee self-service site that's linked on our start page and make those address changes. So we've talked a lot about health benefits that are related to our physical health, but do we have any assistance or any benefit for employees when they have an event in their life? Maybe they've lost a loved one, maybe they've gone through some financial hard times. Do we have any kind of assistance for employees for those kinds of situations?
Yes, ma'am. We have a EAP, Employment Assistance Program, that do offer counseling for individuals that need it. We actually have 2 vendors. We have one through the state, and then we also have one locally here in Athens that they could go through as well.
If they want to talk to someone in person, they have that option?
Yes, ma'am. They could do it in person, they could do it over the phone, or they actually do it as a video call if they choose to.
Wonderful. And how many sessions do they get? Is it just one time, or do they get multiple sessions?
They get multiple. Well, you get 6 sessions per occurrence. So for each one of your issues or situations, more so, you could have 6 different sessions with the counselor to talk about those.
Wow.
Sounds like a great resource.
That's pretty great.
Yeah. So let's sum all of this up. So don't forget to roll in both websites, the CCSD and the State Health. Keep an eye on the open enrollment dates. Do not miss those dates, October 15th to November 8th this year. Declare any qualifying events quickly within 31 days.
Correct.
Yep. And remember, payroll deductions happen in advance to ensure smooth coverage.
So we've covered a lot of ground today, and we hope this helps everyone find their fit with CCSD benefits. Latura, thank you for sharing your expertise today.
Thank you for having me.